Let's embark on a deep dive into two extraordinary coins that have captured the attention of coin collectors worldwide, the 1973 D5-cent coin and the 1961 5-cent coin from the United States. These are no ordinary nickels. They carry remarkable stories, rich historical context, and, most intriguingly, skyrocketing values that have made them highly sought-after treasures in the world of numismatics. By the end of this video, you'll know why these seemingly small coins could make a big difference to your collection, and just how much collectors are willing to pay for them. Spoiler alert, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars. The history behind both these coins is fascinating. Each tells a unique story about America at the time of its minting, about changes in technology, monetary policy, and even the little-known factors that drive a coin's value into the stratosphere. Let's start with the 1973 D5-cent coin and uncover why this humble coin is turning heads and commanding significant sums at auctions. The 1973 D5-cent coin may seem, at first glance, like just another nickel from the Denver Mint, but don't let appearances fool you. This coin holds a special place in U.S. numismatic history. The early 1970s were a time of change and uncertainty in the United States. Inflation was rising, economic pressures were mounting, and the value of raw materials, particularly metals like nickel and copper, was fluctuating. The U.S. Mint had to balance producing enough coins to meet national demand while also keeping costs in check. As a result, minting standards were closely monitored, and some years saw higher quality strikes than others. For the 1973 D nickel, a key factor in its value is its condition, or more specifically, the mint state of the coin. When a coin is labeled mint state, it means that it shows no signs of wear from circulation. A mint state coin looks almost exactly as it did the day it was struck at the mint, untouched by human hands, save for those wearing gloves. This level of preservation is rare for any coin, let alone one minted for everyday use like the 5-cent piece. What makes the 1973 D nickel stand out, in particular, is that a very small number of these coins have survived in such pristine condition. While millions were minted and circulated, the number of coins that have been carefully preserved over the decades is astonishingly low. And among those preserved coins, only a few remain in the highest mint states, with perfect or near-perfect luster, strike quality, and no blemishes. This rarity is a massive driving force behind the coin's value, which has been known to reach as high as $78,000 at auction. But it's not just about how shiny the coin is, it's also about errors. Minting errors can send the value of a coin into overdrive. Errors like double dies, off-center strikes, or even small imperfections in the metal can make a coin one of a kind, which is the dream for collectors. In the case of the 1973 D nickel, certain error coins have been discovered, and these pieces are highly coveted by numismatists. Error coins, particularly those from the Denver Mint, are relatively rare, making them even more valuable. Let's take a moment to think about the implications of all of this. Imagine finding an old nickel in your collection and realizing it's worth tens of thousands of dollars. That's what keeps collectors searching through pocket change and old boxes of coins, because you never know when you'll come across a gem like the 1973 D5-cent coin. The Denver Mint, where this coin was struck, has always been a critical part of U.S. coin production. Established in 1906, the Denver Mint has produced billions of coins over its history, but only a few are as special as the 1973 D nickel. Coins from the Denver Mint are marked with the small d you'll see on the face of the coin, distinguishing them from those struck at other U.S. Mint facilities. But while most coins from the Denver Mint are used and forgotten, the 1973 D nickel has earned its place in the Numismatic Hall of Fame. What makes this coin particularly attractive to collectors is the combination of rarity, mint state, and historical significance. The early 1970s were a turbulent time in American economic history, and coins from this era represent a snapshot of a country struggling with inflation, fluctuating commodity prices, and changing attitudes towards currency and coinage. Holding a 1973 D nickel in your hand is like holding a piece of that history, and that's why collectors are willing to pay top dollar for it. Now, let's turn our attention to the 1961 5-cent coin. Like the 1973 D nickel, the 1961 5-cent coin is far more than just another coin. This nickel was minted at a time when the U.S. was undergoing massive social, political, and economic changes. John F. Kennedy was president, the space race was heating up, and America was about to enter one of the most tumultuous decades in its history. In numismatic terms, the 1961 5-cent coin is significant for several reasons. First, this coin comes from an era when the U.S. Mint was still using relatively traditional methods to produce coins. While technological advancements were beginning to influence how coins were made, the processes used in the early 1960s were still grounded in older, manual techniques. This means that coins from this period, including the 1961 nickel, often exhibit variations in strike quality, luster, and finish. The condition of the 1961 5-cent coin is, as with the 1973 D nickel, crucial to its value. Coins that have been well preserved and show no signs of wear or damage are highly prized by collectors. In fact, mint state examples of the 1961 5-cent coin have been known to sell for as much as $92,000. That's a staggering amount for a coin that was originally worth just 5 cents. But when you consider the rarity of high-quality examples, the price starts to make sense. One of the most interesting aspects of the 1961 5-cent coin is the possibility of mint errors. As we mentioned earlier, mint errors can dramatically increase the value of a coin. For the 1961 nickel, errors like off-center strikes, die cracks, and double dies have all been reported, and these error coins are highly sought after by collectors. Each error makes the coin unique, and the rarer the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. The 1961 5-cent coin also benefits from its historical context. This coin was minted during a time of relative stability in the U.S. economy, but it also came just before a decade of enormous social change. The 1960s were a time of civil rights movements, political upheaval, and dramatic shifts in American culture. Coins from this era, including the 1961 nickel, carry with them a sense of history and nostalgia for collectors who lived through those times, as well as younger collectors who are fascinated by the period. It's also worth noting that coins from the early 1960s are relatively rare in high-grade mint state. This is because, unlike today, when coins are often saved or collected immediately after minting, coins in the 1960s were more likely to be used in everyday transactions. As a result, very few coins from this era were kept in the kind of pristine condition that collectors look for today. As with the 1973 D nickel, the value of the 1961 5-cent coin is driven by its rarity, condition, and the demand from collectors. But what makes this coin particularly interesting is its historical significance. It represents a time in American history when the country was on the verge of massive change, and owning a piece of that history is something that many collectors are willing to pay for. So, there you have it. The fascinating stories behind the 1973 D 5-cent coin and the 1961 5-cent coin. Both of these coins are more than just currency. They're pieces of history, each with its own unique story to tell. And for collectors, finding one of these coins in mint condition can be like striking gold. If you happen to own one of these coins, or if you've come across one in your collection, it might be worth having it appraised. With values reaching $78,000 for the 1973 D nickel and $92,000 for the 1961 nickel, these are not just coins, they're potential treasures. Here at CNN World, we love exploring these hidden gems from the world of numismatics. Be sure to check your coin collections and keep an eye out for those rare, high-quality pieces that could be worth a fortune. Who knows? You might be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. Stay tuned for more exciting coin discoveries and numismatic treasures right here on CNN World.